Hello and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps with myself and Andy Guy. How are you doing?
Hiya,
It's nice
everyone.
to meet you again.
Yeah, it's been a couple of months, hasn't it? It's been quite
That's
a big
right.
gap
Yeah.
since the last
So,
time.
we've got Nigel watching already. You're quick. How you doing, Nigel? Thanks for watching. Glad you're all right. I first met you at the Parameet basically because you produce some very interesting equipment. And I have some behind me, so let's see what happens while I'm talking to you. Because with me, it can be a bit lively, so it's nice to get the answers. That if it is like reacting, it's like, why is it reacting? And I always have these questions anyway. So I always start with a question: where did paranormal begin for you? What was your first encounter or first idea that something was different?
Well, for me, I had an interest in the paranormal way before I ever experienced anything. When I was at school, I used to take a lot of books out of the library, in the school library to start off with, and there was lots of things. So ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, pretty much anything. It was really fascinating. There was these mysteries in the world that lots and lots of people would witness, for thousands of years, and they were still just kind of in the weird bit of the library, in the kind of the spiritualist bit of the
Yeah.
library, not in the science bit of the library. So I kind of spent a long time kind of reading about them, learning about them, finding about other people who investigated things. And it wasn't until 2011 that I went to an investigation at Woodchester Mansion that my girlfriend had got me as a present, because probably fed up of me talking about it and not actually getting on and doing something.
Awesome.
And so I'm kind of watching some of the ghost shows at that time, like Ghost Hunters. And I went to that first investigation with a Mel meter and a night vision camera and audio recorders. I was fully decked up. It was my first one,
You
but
even then,
yeah, I had no
so
idea I
many years
wanted to do
ago.
it. But yeah, I literally bought stuff from America, ready for this first investigation. I was going to go all out on it.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it was a good one. It was, well, kind of. It was a good one because I was really impressed with the place. The night was a little bit chaotic, but we got away from the group and were able to kind of do a little bit of our own stuff. And when I was wandering around with the camera, I pointed towards one of the rooms, which is just offset the doorway when you come in.
Right.
And I just felt like someone was watching me. So I said, "Why are you watching me?" And then because I had the camera in earphones in my ear, so I was doing this kind of live EVP, even though it wasn't called that back then.
Wow.
Um, and I heard the word Arthur really, really loudly in my ears. I thought, oh,
God,
then I just sort of freaked out a little bit, and I went back to the footage, and I've got it to this day, and it's really clear on there. And
that's
at that
brilliant.
point, I thought, ooh, this might be worthwhile buying more equipment.
That's fascinating that you did actually buy so much then when, it's all so new, wasn't it?
Yeah, and at the time, it was, even if you bought a K2 at that time, you were still having to like stick a 2p underneath it to hold the buttons down. It was kind of sort of early doors for
Yeah,
dedicated ghost hunting equipment, and
that's
bloody
right.
expensive.
Well, yeah, because there wasn't like much of an like pendulum and dowsing rods, was there?
No,
Generally.
it was very early.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So that sort of gave you the bug even more then.
Yeah, it's kind of, it made me think, okay, I've had something myself now. I want to know more about it, and that's when I started just thinking about, what could it be? Could it be lots of different things? All the theories of what these different events could be was really exciting to me. Um, and there was this investigation in Margam Castle, probably about a year later, and it was the middle of summer, sort of like now, and it's
Yeah.
still light outside, and people were sitting around looking a bit bored. And then someone said, "Nothing ever happens during the day. You have to wait until it gets dark." And I'm thinking, is that true? Is it true that you don't get much happening in the summer compared to the autumn? I thought, I
Oh
could,
wow.
I can look into this. I can say, look, how many times we get things and when they occurred and what conditions they were. And that's what led to me building data loggers to try and capture the information to work out if there was something in it.
Wow. So What sort of thing did you do with that then? How did you build the data log, or what did it comprise of? And
So I started learning how to program called Arduinos, like little programmable microcontrollers where you can connect
okay,
sensors to it and an SD card and then a screen. So for a while, I had this box which would record temperature and humidity and air pressure and
wow,
EMF every second, but some calculated things as well. So like you can work out from those environmental conditions if it's possible for dust to be suspended in the air, and
right,
also fog can be generated, and it logs that as well. So if you got an orb on a camera, but the data said dust can't be suspended in the air at the moment, it's too humid, it would drop. Then that's quite interesting because you've got then something to back up when someone's got some evidence. Likewise,
that's
mists and
okay.
things, you can say
Yeah,
it's fog or not because it's not humid enough and it's too warm.
wow. Because like most people, well, me and a lot of people like me would just go, "Oh, dust, whatever." But there you're saying that you sort of had a device would sort of basically say if there's potentially dust in the air then.
Yeah, exactly. I like to investigate things and debunk them, but I like to debunk them with proof. So I can
Yeah,
say it was this, and this is what it was. I've got this photo of this, I've got this data of this, as opposed to sort of dismissing it, because sometimes you can miss the most amazing footage because if you just dismiss things because it's likely to be something else without actually proving that.
yeah. I do tend to dismiss things quite a lot. For instance, the device behind me. So this one, and Andy, one of yours.
The TAD.
Describe,
Yeah.
yeah, sad. I'm
To
rubbish at
detect
names. So.
hot spots and cold spots. So the TAD stands for thermal anomaly detector. So that's what it's looking for. A
Yeah,
sudden change in temperature to either go up or down, which is based on those data loggers. So when people said, "Oh, I suddenly feel very cold," I looked at the data and data log and went, "Okay, so a cold spot drops like this sort of shape, this sort of graph shape." And that's what that does. It looks for those patterns of temperature change, which we'd reported on for years.
yeah,
So instead of it just saying, here's the temperature now, here's the temperature now, it's doing a bit of work for you to say, this is the temperature change, but it's kind of linked to other reported paranormal events.
woo. I don't want to drop it. Yeah, and yet a phone device, it doesn't do anything with it either, which is good because obviously a lot of the devices that we do use and equipment within the paranormal field, it can be interfered with by a mobile phone signal. So that's what I like about these. They are standalone. The atmospheric can be affected by things if they're close to it, can't it? Like if people are
I've,
rushing around it and
if you do an awful lot of, because it's looking like the TAD, the aeroflux looks at for a pattern of air pressure fluctuation that we kept seeing during other paranormal events, and it is possible to make that happen by kind of like blowing in it, maybe if you blow in the right pattern. Or I think I just saw Andy Linden in the chat there and Tracy.
Tracy, yeah.
We were at the George Darvis together, and we were able to set them off by just being in this room, and it was a big room, but had a door which was kind of well sealed. So every time you kind of quickly opened or closed it, you could set them off because you
Yeah.
changed the pressure in the room.
Yeah. So sort of said we could use it at Binham. It's renowned for hot cold difference within minutes of investigation. And Barry wants to thank us for supporting Proud to be Paranormal.
Absolute
Yeah.
pleasure.
But
That
no,
was a
it's
fun
just
day,
a
Barry.
great thing. Yeah. Definitely is, isn't it?
It was.
Oh,
It was no
got
problem.
a question as well. So a room full of dust particles, you can see them in light beams. Yet on photos, one orb, what's unlike anything, should all be dust. What's your view on this?
What else? Unlike anything, should all be
Yeah,
dust.
because like sometimes you've got the sun
Hmm.
streaming in a window and you
Hmm.
can see all the dust, can't you?
You can, yeah.
See it all floating around.
Which is sort of like when people get dust orbs, your camera is either flashing and reflecting off the particle of
Yeah,
dust, or the IR is bouncing off it. So it's an orb can be any object that bounces and reflects light. That's where you're going to get bugs and dust,
yeah.
spider webs. but sometimes it's not. My favorite orbs are ones which are actually, I suppose, light anomalies because I've seen
Yes.
them. So I had that in a place called Manor Farm near Southampton, where we were seeing this dark farmhouse, and I saw this light go over the fireplace, and it was really dark, so your eyes kind of play tricks to you. So on our data loggers, I can tag when I've seen something or heard something, and then
Oh,
that
yeah.
puts a timestamp on what happened. So then when I'm reviewing, I can go back to that time and then check the footage. So when I check the footage, I have an orb crossing across the room, but I'd seen it and tagged it as I've seen it. So
Wow.
I think I quite like ones which you actually see as well, because if they are producing light and your camera picks it up and you were in that room and you were looking, why didn't you see it? Your eyes pick up light.
Yeah,
Unless
that's right.
unless it was an IR frequency, that makes some sense. That wouldn't
Yeah.
explain when you get normal cameras picking them up.
And I did kind of wonder at one stage if the reason that with the flash photography, that if there was actually a light anomaly there, the flash would just obliterate it. But it's gone blue now. Yay.
Oh, you asked for blue.
That's better. Yeah.
Like never.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the problem actually, because the camera's focal length is kind of beyond where that bit of dust is. When
Yeah.
the flash hits it, it disproportionately produces light. The people were reporting these to camera companies back in the 70s and saying my camera's got all these blobs in there. The camera's faulty. So all the big camera companies looked at it, and you can Google their reports, and they're saying exactly that. It's kind of things that
Yeah.
are inside the focal length. but
Yeah.
but not, like I said, not always. If sometimes you can have things which you can't see dust, and so if you see something and you've got it on the camera, then that's definitely not dust.
Yeah. I think to me, it's more dependent if you're using a flash or not. Because to me, a
Yeah,
flash, there's more opportunity for it to reflect back. But obviously, if you're not using a flash and there's not some sort of light source within the room what can cause it, then, it's harder to explain that away, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, when night vision cameras you use night vision camera, it's projecting some sort of IR light.
Yes. Yeah.
And dust I've seen on. I've looked into it a bit. Some of the dust has kind of got different surfaces, and some of the surfaces are shinier than others. So sometimes a bit of dust can just like go bloop and just turn in the
Yeah.
frame, and you just kind of pick up that shiny side, and then it's gone.
Mm.
Weird thing, dust.
Yeah. I know. We're having a conversation about dusk. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Very paranormal.
Yeah. We sort of never know where the conversations go, but hey ho. Yeah, but you've developed this fascinating equipment, really. Um, like, sort of, what made you sort of go down the route of producing it to sell?
So when I first started seeing these patterns, the temperature one and the air pressure one, and that's interesting. Like
That
anyway,
was the Green
so
Street, yeah.
we were still using the data loggers. Now, the data loggers sort of box like this, and there's got a screen on with the numbers, and you have to sit in front of it and try and mentally calculate. Okay, that's a change of 7. That's 10. Da, 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 and go. Okay,
Oh,
that's a hit.
okay.
And the first time we did that, we were sitting in one investigation, and someone was asking questions, and I was sitting in front of this box and going, "Yep, that's a yes, that's a no." Just trying to look at the numbers. I thought, this is terrible. So what I thought I'd do is start putting that algorithm, that me checking it thing, in a box, so I could then
Wow.
put it down and not have to stare at a screen all night. And we were using them for a good while until other people came investigate with us, and they said, "That's amazing. That's going off at the same time as that. How does that work? I want one. How much are they?" So I started making them for individuals, and then pandemic hit, and still did a couple of like little investigations when it wasn't totally
Yeah,
locked
it's
down, but
local.
I was having people still communicate with me and saying, I still want some. I'm kind of doing live streams now. I'm going into places. Can you,
Yes.
can you do me one? So I started making it because people were interested in them, really.
Yeah.
That's why I've always been just making them, because I want to share things we found, things we're going to work, and I want to share it out there. So that's why when I make things, I make them as efficiently and as cheaply as possible, because I'm not in it to fill my pockets. I'm more in it
Oh,
to kind
bless
of
you.
share out in
Help
things we
people,
found,
yeah.
and get feedback from other people, because scientific theory is that you need to be able to repeat your experiments, but also then share your findings so other people can do the same experiments and see if they're getting them. And the
Yeah.
feedback I've got from other people really helped develop the same product. So this guy is probably the version about 80 odd, because the feedback I
Wow.
get from other people, I incorporate into it, and things I want to do when I'm using it, I put into it. So it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, well, I was chatting the other day about this one because it does activate quite a lot with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mine's been on this other time, not a sausage. I'm sort of jealous, if I'm honest.
and I don't know. Well, and sort of the last discussion I had, and Andy was listening, who's watching now, and this question in a minute. I did sort of say that my dad sort of likes things with lights, and he does set things off. And I went to this rarely investigated. Well, I don't think it's ever been investigated. It's an old mill in Derbyshire called Cromford Mills, public event. So I went into this room, put it out. It had time to settle, and all of a sudden it's beeping.
Mm.
And then, it just went off and it just carried on. Then it was doing it on demand and everything. And if you're going into a place where it hasn't been investigated before, it's rare to get a hit with equipment straight away.
Yeah, like I said, it has to learn it.
Yeah, exactly. So for it to do that, oh God, Andy, this gets on my nerves. It really does, because it works too well. And I even contacted Andy saying, "Why the hell is this going off all the time?" And it's
Yeah,
like,
and I'm like, I don't know. It's temperature changing somehow. Don't know
yeah,
how.
I don't know. It's just one of those, isn't it? But I
Yeah.
blame my dad for it, to be fair. So I don't know why it does it. Equipment great when we get spirit to communicate, which we've had a few times, and but you like to get to the stage where you go in a room and give a bit of time for spirit to get used to it, then it go off. Not as
Mm.
soon as you walk in somewhere, which is
Well,
when I kind of
that's an interesting point, because when I originally made it, I didn't make it for communication whatsoever. I made it because on the data logger, we were seeing something else happening, and then this happening, the pressure changing, or the magnetic fields changing, or the
yeah,
temperature. And it was meant to be more just to say something might be happening in the room, pay attention to that other thing. I didn't really make it to be actually used as a communication device, but
yeah,
it seems that's kind of how it's ended up. So I do the same thing now. I kind of line a few up and use it to kind of get yes, no answers. And it literally wasn't based on that. It was based on other events happening, which is it's amazing. But the problem is getting
yeah.
you just it's hard to actually communicate with it sometimes.
But then, like if the spirit or whatever's around us gets an opportunity to do something,
Mm.
then they can sort of devise a way that they can activate it, can't they?
Yeah, I mean,
Like my
if
dad
I
used to
found I
make the cat
was
ball go off a lot, and it's not. So I think he's gone on to that, to be fair.
if I was trying to communicate to people and I found something that worked, if I was able to interact something in the physical world and I kind of figured out how to do it, then I would use that. I would take any opportunity to try and use that.
Yeah. It's certainly gone quieter, because when I first started, when we sort of logged on about 7:45, it wouldn't stop going off. So it has eased off a bit. But
Yes, it's
yeah,
gone shy.
my dad
No
doesn't
more,
do that, if that's my dad.
no more
Uh,
reds actually. That's interesting, isn't it?
yeah, so it went to blue, but then again, it's getting cooler, isn't it? The sun's gone down.
Hmm.
So
But it
that would
needs
explain the blue more.
they'd it needs to be quite a sharp change there. It's only a period of about 4 seconds, so you need to see quite a sharp drop, which is possible, but
Yeah,
who
but
knows?
the sun goes down that side and the window's that side, so it's there, isn't it?
So
You know,
not much impact then.
no, it's not as if, it's the sun going out of the room, which is that room, it's not this room, is it?
No,
So
the one next to me
practically,
is just opposite where the sun sets, and then certain time of day, it's just like sitting staring at the sun. It's shocking.
oh bless you. So I got a good question here then by Andy. What are your views on K2s? Have you tried to take them apart, improve them, or any other devices?
Well, I improved this one. I'm put some BP on it and a
Oh,
base so I can stand it up.
ah,
But I think any tool is okay as long as you understand how it works. So
yeah,
my opinion is always learn how it works, learn its issues, and then work out if those issues are going to stop your experiment working. So I've opened that up. I know that the antenna coil goes around the board there. So I know that it's going to be able to pick up waves going this way well and waves going this way badly. So if you want to see if it's working or not, you twist it. So you pick up different EMF directions, one direction than another to another. That way is the best because you're picking up most of the coil. It can be influenced
yeah,
by
that's
lots
true.
and lots of things, but as a sweep device, that's really good. You want it to be influenced by lots and lots of things because then you'll know where everything is. I don't do, weirdly, on my equipment, I don't tend to do much in the way of EMF because there is so much other stuff out there. And I always focus on something which is missing from what I'm investigating. And I've carried a Mel meter around for, I don't know, 10 years now, this one. And that does the job well.
Yeah. Mel
So why
meters.
reinvent the wheel?
It's a
Yeah.
shame my Mel meter's usually in my case, to be fair. It's very rare I get my Mel meter out.
I got this when I picked it up. They came with this pouch. Did you ever get that pouch come with it at all?
Not knowingly, I can't remember.
That's
No,
great. So I
no, it's the
all from
box.
a belt. Yeah, it's always it's embarrassment then, but start with investigation. Undo my belt and put this this thing on. Strange looks like. Sometimes I just don't really. I'm just getting ready. I'm just standing there talking to someone. I'm start undoing my belt and put this on. I think people got used to it
What's
by
in
now.
a dark cold room, is it?
Exactly. Yeah. Let's get down that tunnel. I'm
Taking
going
your
to take
belt
my.
off. Oops. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah, there are some incredible devices, and you did mention you're working on something new as well,
Yes. Yes,
which
I
I'm
am.
very
So
intrigued by. I want one. I want one.
yeah, this is a world
Can I order one?
exclusive. Yes, you can. Actually.
Exclusive. I've
It's very
ordered one
exclusive. So
live online.
so as we're discussing these, I've been using these for communication. In fact, I've been doing recently is taking like 5 of these and then put them in a row and then say this one over here is no, this one is mostly no, this is I don't know, this is mostly yes and yes. Because that
Wow.
granular response when you start getting hits from it, you can use to direct questions a lot better because then you get mostly yes, you think, oh, I'm not quite on the mark with that. I'm going to try
Yeah,
something different. Whereas if you just got the one and you get yeses and nos, if you get a no, you just change, you drop the subject, and because of that, we get a lot more information out that kind of just keeps on leading and keeps that communication going for a lot longer.
that's right. Yeah.
So I wanted something which could take all the algorithms from that and say like the Magnavox, which picks up on
Yeah.
magnetic field changes,
That doesn't
and
go off a lot.
it
It's only
doesn't.
gone off once with me, so it
Oh, that's
makes it
good.
extra special when it does. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's I find that some locations they understand it more, I think. And one of the other factors is that I've never seen these go off on a locked off camera in any mine or anything else that someone shared with me. It's almost like it needs a human component to be able to set it off.
Okay.
I was chatting at someone at the last Parameet actually about that, and they said maybe whatever is communicating through this is using this person's magnetic field themselves. They're in tune with your magnetic field and
Wow.
able to amplify that to set that off,
Yeah.
for example. Because I thought that's interesting because I've had sessions where we've been getting hits on this and quite good responses, and then some other people have come along and it's gone. And so I'm thinking that's maybe not just their personality, maybe it's their actual polarity of their own field in there that's affecting it.
Mm.
Of course, that's another
That's
10 years worth of investigation to figure that if that's true or not.
that's true, but I I believe that a person, and whether it be their spirit guide, their energy, or something, whatever energy's around them, sort of affects different types of equipment. So
Mm.
for me, it used to be cat balls, and now that goes off. If I try an EVP, I don't generally get a lot of luck. REM pod, but some equipment works for me and some doesn't.
People have affinities with different sorts of
Yeah, and I'm
energies, I
wondering if,
think.
whether it is like who's around you or your energy or something like that. Because
It's
I know people
interesting,
who
isn't
get
it?
like class A EVPs all the time.
Yeah,
I
some people are
can't,
amazing
you
at it.
know. It doesn't matter, that person could have a DR60, it can work. If the
Mm.
DR60 is not around, then she'll have something else work. And it always happens. I've been there, I've been present. You hear it clear as day what the words are.
Yeah,
But, sometimes when it's filmed, the words aren't as clear as when you're actually there listening to it, are they?
that's true.
It
And
kind of
sometimes it
loses
can,
it a bit when it's filmed. A bit
and
more
sometimes it can
distorted.
end up sounding completely different as well.
Yeah,
I'd,
that's right.
I had a really interesting one. I'll show you this bit in a second, but it was a really interesting one at the Ram Inn. It was
Right.
very kind of late pandemic-y time. We managed to get it with only just me and two other people. And
Wow.
we were coming down from the attic to the ground floor. And I was going first, and I had on a camera and audio recorders on my backpack. And I heard someone say, Andy. And I turned around to the person who was halfway down the stairs and said, What did you just say, Andy? And she said, No. And I called up the top of the stairs where the third guy was at the top. And I said, did you say Andy? No. And when we investigate in our group, every person, every team leader, or if it's just a very private one, literally everyone in the building wears a audio recorder on their wrist. So
Wow.
it acts like a baseline, which we can then jump to any point in the night and then check any individual, any location around the building and see what was going on. And checking the audio on mine and then the person in the middle of the stairs and the top, the Andy is present, but the further it gets away from me, the slower it gets. So the audio is picked up,
Wow.
but it changed it in frequency, in effect. What's that
Interesting.
mean?
Yeah,
Weird.
because they say that spirit can work on frequencies and sort of with mediumship. If you raise your frequency, then you can try and get to their level and pick things up more. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
complex, isn't it?
very complex. Every time you come up with some small little bit of answer, you get 1,000 more questions. That's the only problem.
Yeah. So you've sort of done loads of amazing places then. So how many
Uh,
investigations have you taken part in?
179 as of last Friday.
Wow, I saw actually counting them. I
Yeah,
lose I lose track. Oh, we got
very data and loggy
change
based.
in
Oh, air
pressure.
pressure.
Yeah, air pressure changed now. So there's no reason for that, is there?
Uh, yeah, it detected a zero point 0.7 micropascals change over the course of about 2 seconds.
Caused by?
That's the question, because air
Isn't
pressure
it?
can be affected by the weather, and can be
Yeah,
affected by gravity, and it can be affected by localized compression of air. So like small rooms, open closing doors, that can do that.
yeah,
The gravity one shouldn't change at all because that should be a constant. And
mhm,
the weather outside, well, when I investigate, we have a data log outside the building as well. So when we check the report at the end of the day, we have this graph and we see what's going outside and what's going on inside. And if they're the same, then we know it's the weather. But
yeah. I
it's
know they've said that
weekends
storm's
otherwise.
coming, but at the moment it's just blue skies, so
Yeah, it's a nice day.
certainly
So
not, certainly it's just me in the house, no doors are open. The dog's asleep down there, so we're all good. And yeah,
he's not making air.
so that's a
Right.
well, I hope
So
not.
there's it. This is the empath, and the reason
Wow.
I called that was because the idea is try to show a bit of empathy with who you're talking to, really,
Awesome.
which kind of naturally happens when people have been using it. I found, but the idea is to take the information we've got from the different algorithms from the other loggers, and then change that into more direct communication based on a very structured collection of word responses based on several specific question modes. So one of the modes is, how are you feeling? and another mode is who are you, and then another one is tell me information that I need to know, and there's also that yes no mode. And the idea being is that there's a very specific set of structured words for each change. So on the how are you feeling, if the temperature goes colder, then it's a negative feeling. It's angry and offended or betrayed. And then the stronger the response, the greater the change, the stronger the word. But if the temperature goes up, you get positive words like excited and passionate and fearless. And the idea being is that if it's a structured response that's scaled, and if someone's able to communicate with one of these accurately with you, then they can keep trying to hit the word they're after and they want to communicate to you. And what I found while investigating with it is that you do get that. With Andy and Tracy Linden, when we were at George Jarvis, we were getting loads and loads of these female names, and they were all flower-based names. And I managed to scale names and group names and professions and locations, and I managed to try and have everything so it scales up. Which that took a while to figure that one out. There you go.
Yeah,
and we eventually got to the name Daisy, and then Andy Linden's REM pod just went nuts, and a cat ball went off, and I think it was a Magnavox was going off as well. And we hit the right word. And then whenever we said the name Daisy after that, we would get equipment going off again. So it's almost like you feel like someone's trying to figure out how to get the word, and they're able to because it's not randomized. It's based on a structure of change, which they can go, okay, I'm not quite there. I'm going to try again and again. And that's it. Right. There you go. This is what I want to tell you about. Sorry, I've been ranting a little bit. And one of the nice things about it as well, everything I'm do calibrates in the same sort of way. When you put it down, it flashes.
At least it's calibrating helps. Like exactly. I take my EDI in a room. It takes quite a while for the temperature to settle. Yeah, so for ages it's like going down, and it is a bit frustrating because you're working an event and they're going, temperature's changing. Yeah, it will do. It
needs to settle down. It's been in someone's pocket for a while.
And it would take forever. It really can.
Well, that's one of the biggest things that a skeptic will say about.
I want to talk about me.
Something that was an. Right. Yeah, so that also has an automatic mode. So it enables, depending on what gets set off, temperature or air pressure or magnetism or EMF, it'll pick a different mood itself. And then if it can't find a word for a while that it likes and it goes quiet, it'll go back to that automatic selection. So you can literally just turn it on, leave it, and then it will actually kind of sort itself out, which has been interesting.
Very interesting.
Predictability. So that's a need. So yeah, there's some needs, and like I need this, or sometimes there's a desire tree as well. So things I need or things I desire, and that was a need for. But the thing that's different about this than I'd say when you see other kind of apps and so forth is I would not just run with what we hear like straight away. I tend to try to say, have a go at this. I'll explain how it works. Oh, that's interesting. I've just got an air pressure flux. And I was about to say, see if you can set something else off to tell us that's the word you're after. That's what you're trying to achieve with it. And that's worked each time I've done it so far. It's been really good to say the pressure goes off or a pod goes off, something else goes off when you hit the right word. Wow. And then you try and ignore the other ones. You don't let it sway you too much. And that's kind of the key with it. Charles.
Yeah.
Charles.
Yes, Charles.
So that's interestingly, so Jane and Charles are on a positive and a negative part of the chain. So we'd have had a pressure go up or pressure go down at that point. And that's kind of what we've seen as well, that to start off with a session, some interaction, which then gets more and more accurate as time goes on. Jacqueline.
You're joking.
I'm not joking.
So how's it managed that then?
That's interesting.
Right, odd.
Yeah.
So why would it do that then? Seriously.
Seriously, so that picked up an air pressure change, which also I got on my aeroflux there, which then challenge.
I'm challenging you, yeah.
It's a weird coincidence. In fact, I had a weird coincidence with went to Fort Widley with it on Friday, and someone was talking. We were getting these good words like empathy and
Oh,
understanding. But when it came out understanding, someone literally said, I think it's trying to get some
it.
understanding," and it said understanding exactly the same time. Facile. But again, I'm not getting other hits. So
Yeah,
protocol wise, I tend to
yeah.
then take
It's
with a
just,
pinch of salt.
can it hear you say Jacqueline?
No,
Yeah.
it's completely based off the same sensors and algorithms as this piece of equipment. This can't hear you and that can't hear you. I
Hmm.
guarantee you that. Because I only sell things and make things that I use, and if I
Yeah.
want to use them, like the K2, I want to understand how it works, what it does, and keep it simple so its responses are understandable and you can debunk it. If it's doing something randomly or I don't know, I don't want to say sneakily and connily, then what's the point of it, really?
Well, that's right. Yeah. No,
It is a weird
it's just
coincidence.
a bit of a strange one. Yeah, definitely. Who knows? Like Terry says, try and make things fit. Well, probability of my
Yeah.
name coming out, and then when I'm like challenging, it's like, oh, challenge. It's like, oh, okay.
Then
It's one of those.
barrister.
Isn't it? What's that?
The last one came out was barrister.
Right. Okay. That's enough.
Understanding.
Hmm,
So
barrister.
there are 800 words on here as well.
Yeah.
We're looking at maybe adding another tree, but I only add the words that kind of fit in that kind of progression
Yeah.
manner, and also based on answering those questions.
But do you get any words come out which shouldn't be in there?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
God, that'd be scary. The other mode I really like is the um, automatic uh, closed questions mode. So
Okay.
when you sometimes get things going off and you get one or two things going off, you naturally go, okay, so you can set off that cat ball and you can set off this aeroflux, set off the cat ball for yes and this for no. And then
Yeah.
you what this does is it sits there and when it's in closed question mode, and then the first big change, which represented by like say this going yellow, that then becomes the yes. And then the second change becomes the no. So it could have a pressure change being a yes and a magnetism change being a no. And then after that point, it then gives you a scaled response. Like there's the 5 aerofluxes. If it's a
Yeah.
small change, it goes mostly yes. If it's a big change, it goes yes or no. So that's been quite interesting because we got it working the first time when we were up on top of the fort. And we got some good yes nos and slightly agrees and things like that, which were really good to kind of drill down into the right questioning.
And Dimmick turned up as well.
Yeah.
K2 went off.
Got to talk to this private Dimmock who fell off the battlements, and we've been hearing his footsteps. And even on Friday we had his footsteps,
Wow.
and never communicating at all. We just hear. So I was thinking residual for ages, but we were actually getting responses which related to conditions at the time. It said the word fort, which was
Oh, that's
surprising.
very, yeah.
One point. Okay. So yes and no. But when we took it downstairs and tried the same thing again, it wouldn't give us a no response. And that was kind of like the session was also kind of like that. That as soon as you got to any kind of drill down sort of questioning, it would just, communication just cut entirely. And that's kind of exactly what we saw with this, which it didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't respond in the right way, but that was also a good thing because it was matching up what we were getting from that session.
Yeah. I've had that at times where you sort of ask a question and they don't sort of want to answer.
Mm.
So then all of a sudden they might go away or something
Just
like,
clam up. If you get too specific sometimes, if you keep it
um,
light and easy, then it's okay.
yeah.
But if you
I
got to
was,
say, tell me your name or what year is it?
I did have an issue, and I don't know, I've been trying to do development quite a few years now, and there's a specific time, maybe 3 consecutive investigations, and there's one, it's actually with Claire Evans, National Paranormal, I was invited to be a speaker at one of her weekend events. And I walked in the place and straight away I picked up on something. I got something I told her. And then as the time progressed, we seemed to get more and more. Right at the end, she did get together of everybody. And it seemed the full picture of everything just worked out. So all this, what we're picking up individually, we got the full story. My mediumship was coming out with what the guy was wearing and loads of details. And he went to Claire, don't need to know that stuff. You know? And then, like the next investigation, once again, I managed to annoy spirit because I was coming out with too much.
Is that
Sometimes you can pick up, you can pick up too much mediumship where something happened and they don't want you to know about it. And whatever that was, I've stopped doing that now to that degree. And then you sort of go on to a different method, but it's
I always equate to it kind of like when you meet people at a bus stop and you're just kind of hanging around from there. The bus is kind of late, so you've got that little bit of interaction you can have with someone.
Yeah.
You start gently talking to them. Chances are you'll never share names. So someone's at the bus stop and you were just on that light level kind of how's the weather sort of conversations.
Yeah.
You would feel stressed. Goodness.
Stressed.
You would, yeah. So if someone said, "Okay, what's your name?" and tell me where you live and what's your pan. So it's you kind of have to go gently, I think, because it would scare off anyone you were just talking to in a bus stop.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah, I guess some locations are more used to it than others.
I think
silly questions.
I think it's if you've also the location is used to you as well. If you build up a bit of a relationship and a bit of trust, then that's just like when you speak to the living people. Bored.
Oh dear. They're fed up of what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's not good, is it?
No, it's not good. So
that's like the comment section.
Oh, I like this. What Terry says. I've got a theory they're not allowed to give certain information, and it's something me and Barry Frankish were hosting at Haunted Antiques, and it's something what's come up a lot in investigations. And when you've got a spirit who sort of wants to help you, like some you can have a proper conversation with, and you try and ask them about the afterlife. And we were sort of asking, are there certain things you can't tell us? And this time they said, no, there isn't. But then, other times you investigate and it does seem there is an unwritten rule between here and there. Have you found anything?
I would say specifically, we've had responses back from when we were doing, say, military places that weren't allowed to share information, but it kind of felt like because that's how they were in life.
Yeah.
They don't know who you are. You don't know what your clearance is. You're going to get maybe a name, rank, and number, probably less than that. And so military places, I do just try not to go into any real details and just kind of keep it like you're just hanging out and spending time with them and kind of talking about the local pubs and things like that. That gets a lot more responses, but they're the place I find climb up the quickest as soon as you go to any details. And I think that's because that's just built into the character if anyone might have been there.
That's right. And also then you've got the sort of the men and women thing as well. So if you're a woman and you're investigating a place, well, you weren't allowed to speak in those days. Like the men wouldn't speak to you because you were there for other reasons, weren't you? Oh, so Andy says, is it BORED or BOARD?
The former, unfortunately.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But then again, we're on about me asking about what boots he's wearing, so that was what the conversation was.
Yeah, don't want to hear about boots.
No, that's it. Yeah, I know. But this is what happens with this kit, Andy. So sort of said. So I thought, I'll put it there because this is what happens to me on investigations. And when you're on a public ghost hunt, it's like, oh, okay, I better put it away because it does
we're talking to all night
too much. Yeah, and is it my dad? You know, if it's my dad, can you make it go red?
I do think it's not. I don't think I've seen it go red since we've started. Interesting, but it
No,
was
it
going red lots
did.
before.
No, it has. I think the
I
rest of
did.
it, last one was red. Yeah, last bit one. But yeah, it is funny though. Yeah, looking into using EMF recorder to enhance EVPs.
I'm interested to find out from Andy or Tracy what sort of output. Oh, it's got ghost,
Ghost.
and that's quite a high response in the occult professions chain.
Wow.
But yeah, Andy left an audio recorder with a guitar pickup attached to the mic input, which means that
Wow.
all it can then hear is EMF. So I use those for years to Nicholas to find like wires and cabling, because you can then just put an earphones in the mic in the earphone socket and then listen to it, and you can then hear EMF wherever you go. But one thing we've been experimenting with is doing EVPs that way. Are EVPs actually just EMF that affects the microphone on the recorder? And the way to test that is only record EMF. So that's what Andy left up in the bell tower, clock tower in George Jarvis. So I'm interested to find out if he ever got anything from there. Tracy sent me a lot of EVPs from that investigation. She did amazing with it.
I do. Yeah, I see Andy and Tracy post a lot of EVPs, and certainly
she's
do
amazing.
get a lot. It is amazing.
She's got a real ear for it.
We had a few interesting spikes of it, about 3 interesting words through it.
See, that's amazing, because it can't pick up audio. You can't pick up audio with that in there. It's just hearing EMF, which is fascinating.
Yeah, the whole subject, but I've got a very inquiring mind, but you've got more scientific, and that's incredible to go that far. I'm not very good on that sort of thing, but
yeah,
just
like
must
trying to answer
blow
questions.
your mind. That must blow your mind. There's some of the theories you come up with, and then trying to work out how you can try and create something.
Well, yeah, I think that's the problem. Like every time we come up with like something like that's interesting, I keep seeing that might be a thing, and then you think, okay, to prove this, you have to build this, and this, and then run it for a number of investigations. And if you go investigate maybe once, twice a month to get enough data points to say something's true or not, you're talking about a couple of years worth of investigating to be able to say categorically that's a thing or that's not. So it's time consuming. It takes a long time. That's why I don't make a lot of different things, I think, because I've kind of got lots of things in the sort of backburn that I've been using, and then just want to make sure they're going to actually be of use. And then go, I've been using it for a year. It's good. Now I'll start sharing out with people.
Yeah. I do sort of get a lot of interaction with that, and I don't know why.
I've not had anything from this at all, apart from when I blew into it, and
a
little jealous.
Yeah, for me, it's all the time, and it's like, well, like that time when I was at that investigation, I hadn't been there that off. Nobody had been there, and it's going off all the time, and it's like, well, it's a bit embarrassing. This is. That's why I contacted you and said, "What the hell's wrong with this? Why is it doing it?" And
so,
it's great that we can ask these questions.
Yeah, and it's right. So, because there are some things I say to people, because you knew where the directions of different temperature sources.
Yeah.
The device itself tends to have very obvious apertures where the sensors come out. In fact, that's that one there. It's got a little temperature symbol on the back. So that's so you know where the sensor is. So you know not to point that towards a drafty door because it's going to get a draft in there. So if you do it like that, then it doesn't get affected by it.
This has got blocked anyway, but on the both sides. So.
So there is always good to ask, because then I can then try and rule a few things out, and beyond that, we're on to the unknown again.
Yeah, that's right. So Andy says you should lend it to Jacqueline for a week or two. That'll liven it up.
I feel like I want to send another like 16 tads over to Jacqueline just to see if they all go off.
See what happens. Yeah, stick me in a room with the tads and see how often they go off. But there's an investigations when I always had cat balls go off, and without fail. And I thought it was like the energy around me or something like that. And I have got a light thing. It's got 10 LED lights. It's not. It's it's tripwire, but it's the cat ball version rather than the
Oh yeah. Sort
EMF
of
version.
cat balls and
And
each.
like whenever I do that, I usually get 3 go off.
One,
And it
one
can
thing
be
I
a different
learned.
3. I've
One thing
never
I
had
learned.
4 go off.
Never all 4.
Well,
It
we
might
can have
be.
up to 10, but
So this might answer that then. So when I never used to like cat balls much because knowing standing on one, then taking it apart, knowing how it works. It's got a
yeah,
little tilt sensor that needs
yes,
to be moved to still
that's
connected.
right. Yeah, I've
Why
heard them
else would it go off? So when I made the resonates, the EM pumps, I thought here's a good opportunity to find out if EMF sets them off. So I did that. I got one of Amy Slaney's cat ball
Oh yeah,
rings.
cat ball holder. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, and placed it on
available
top of
from
there.
Revenant Resin.
Yeah,
Revenant
we like
Resin.
them. I use
Yeah,
them
I
all
like
the
them.
time with this. And
Awesome.
then switched on the resonate, and it set it off the cat ball. I thought that's great. So I know why that can go off without moving, and it's EMF, strong EMF. So in
Right.
your example, where you've got a number of those in a chain, you
Mm.
could have a strong EMF field in one part that sets off these, and then it just doesn't extend to the rest of them potentially.
But they weren't next door to each other.
So that comes down to the bit about the K2 meter as well. So the coil is here and it goes around here. So if the wave comes in, hits that side of the coil, it generates a charge which then sets it off. If the wave
Yeah.
comes in middle of the device, misses the coil entirely, doesn't go off. So with the cat ball, the wave has to hit exactly where the chip is, and it sets off one leg on the chip to go high, and then it sets it off. But if that wave, which is literally a wave, doesn't hit it, it won't go off at all.
Interesting. Yeah. But I also used to ask yes/no answers as well. And when I sort of said, "Is that you?" and it used to come on before I said the word "dad," and then like it was actually we had a real weird interaction with the cat ball at the weekend. So at Haunted Antiques, and we put it in a glass in the seance room, right in the centre of a table, and it seemed to be bouncing in the glass without going off. But it just seemed to be bouncing too much. And we tried to make the floorboards move, which they do, People walk, but there's nobody really walking when it happened. But we got people walking, and it's like just bouncing.
How
odd.
loud was the club at that point?
It wasn't.
What
No,
wasn't?
it's quite nice, to be fair.
Oh man, I want one of those. That'd be nice.
Yeah, and it's just bouncing. You can hear it clicking against the glass.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was like an infrasound vibration, which is then moving the
No.
glass, and then no.
No, because it just happened, and then it happened again shortly afterwards. Because at first I thought, oh yeah, it's. But then it happened again. It's like, well, and we tried to recreate it, and we couldn't. And it just carried on bouncing. And it's quite a lot of seconds it was bouncing away.
That
with
is
this glass.
pretty weird.
Yeah. Like, you get used to things, don't you? Like,
Kinda, yeah.
And
Then someone else sees it and they go, how is that happening?
Yeah.
How is that thing moving in the glass?
Yeah, and it was just a bit weird, and I don't know.
It's very weird.
I don't say anything's paranormal, but what was that? It was just weird,
Exactly. You're seeing something physical move in something else physical.
Yeah.
So some force is being exerted on that in some way. And that's then it's the point of trying to figure out what is actually that force.
Yeah, that's right. So you try everything around it, So floorboards, there can be an issue with the floorboards. Cabinet number 10 used to come open in the war room. We kind of wondered, and it turned out it's a loose latch and it's floorboards. We kept work, and 100% that's what it was. And now move the cabinets around, so it doesn't do that anymore because it's got it's one with a different lock on there. But But yeah, it's just all in. It's not doing it again, is it? It's gone quiet
No.
again. Then it's weird.
How many times do you have a situation where you go, well, I don't understand that. That's I've run out of explanations, run out of things
All
to
the
try.
time. Yeah, all the time with investigations. But I certainly need a few more of those, don't I?
Mm,
For when I sort
yeah,
of do public events, if you just get a few going,
yeah.
they
I've
are sort of great.
got some great footage from a friend of mine called Ian Stafford, who uses quite a few of them and then puts them in a line. And the footage I've seen is it's like a movement of temperature. So one will go blue and the next one will go red, and you're seeing kind of
Wow,
the temperature moving from one piece of air to the next piece of air. It's almost like it's being drawn, which
that's
is
incredible.
really interesting to see, because then that explains it. That's gone cold because the temperature's pulled away somehow.
Wow.
Somehow there's a bit.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's what Terry says. That's why we do it. That's it, isn't it? You have the questions, you have the theory. Like for me, with the cat ball, it's never that spirit actually physically moved it generally. Like I've never seen it move if I've had an EDI near it. That's not causing me waving my hand. Could be.
Nah, probably not.
You see, I've always got a reason for everything, haven't I?
That's right. It's good to
I
put a
always write
question there.
things off. I always write things off too easily. I'm the right one for that.
But no, it's just definitely the second you don't ask that question, and then you kind of just there you go. Is that the right thing to do?
Okay. There you go. Debunked. No.
Yeah.
Don't
But
know why
you've proved the debunking
Yeah,
there.
that-
You're gonna,
well,
that's
yeah,
like
yeah, worth a try. God, I have a haunted ball. That's the new one, actually. Well, that one's quiet, but yeah. The theory is that some spirits are more able than others. That movement of things must be a bit like some of us can pick up on them being around than others. And that's it, isn't it? But it is so fascinating what we do, though, isn't it?
it's a rabbit hole, that's for sure.
Definitely. That's
Every
what
time you
it
find something,
just sorts my mind out. That's it's so suited to my mind. The questions. That spirit loved me for my questions.
here she comes again with her questions.
In fact, one says they didn't like me or something the other day on a public event. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, thanks, mate.
Yeah, repetition procedure.
Yeah, but it's just wonderful, isn't it? So what you got planned then?
So focusing mostly on these guys. I'm doing
Yeah.
I'm doing a very small kind of run for kind of people to try out before I kind of properly release them.
Yeah.
Probably going to have the proper release ones before we go to the next Parameet.
Yay.
Because I want to make it a bit smaller,
Right.
compact. Because when you ever do kind of prototype runs of things, you always kind of just over egg the pudding and make it bigger than you need it. So now now.
Disagree.
Oh, fine. Disagree with me then.
Disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. So then can get this working, and then next device after that, I'm working testing and working on a device which is specifically used for making Esther sessions far easier and to be able to kind of prove things and debunk things on the fly. Thank you very much. It's called the Questus. I said slightly agree. It's called the Questus, and it looks a bit like half a game controller because it doesn't have any screen because it's just there for someone to do Esther sessions. It's all controlled very physically. So, oh, okay. Got my first person who's interested in prototyping. You're plugging your ear. Yeah, you're plugging your earphones.
Slightly agree.
Yeah. There you
Slightly agree again.
Yeah. Oh, turn me up.
Can it see as well?
No. No. God. So Yeah, so you plug in your earphones, you can plug in an audio recorder and line output, so then anything you get from it, you can record and then other people can listen to it. So kind of see if they hear
Brilliant.
the same thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's got instead of changing the speed with
Slightly
buttons,
disagree.
it's got a knob. So you got a volume knob.
Slightly disagree.
I disagree. I can't remember what I said now.
Not very fast,
Yeah. So you have a volume knob and a speed knob, so you can control the speed and the volume just standing there in the dark with your hands on the knobs. Well, that sounded right.
Sorry.
I might put that different in the advert. The speed of it can go up to like the entire FM band in about 2 seconds, so it can go super quick. And the other part is whenever you're doing an Esther session and you got your headphones on, and when people are hearing, say, like one voice and another voice, it's
Yeah.
very hard to communicate that out. So
Yes.
why it looks a bit like a game controller is because it's got 3 buttons where if you press a button, it lights a color underneath, and you can then each button is a different color. So
Slightly agree.
there you go. On the same slide now. So you can agree up front saying, like, if it's a male voice, it's a green. If it's a female voice, it's a blue. Or if it's someone else new, I'll hit the red. And you can press down combinations of them, and it makes different lights. You can then agree how you're going to communicate information out, and that's really useful when using it, because then if you're doing the questions and they hit a light, and go, oh, it's a different person, and I'll change questioning. I'm not going to assume it's the same person I've been talking to for the last 20 minutes. Because that's what happens afterwards. They come out and they go, oh, that was like 14 different people I was speaking to. And when you're doing the questioning, you were just talking to one person the entire time.
That's right, yeah. I do love the Estes method, but the last one I did was awful because I was
Slightly agree.
it was agreeing again.
Yeah, agree with you.
Yeah, it was wrong. I think I was pulling out too much radio. And
So
it doesn't usually do that, even if it's jumping channels and everything.
the interesting things about the Est as well is you've got 2 switches. One is a randomize, so it won't do sequential scanning.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
and when you hear like 3 frequencies, that's a radio station, 3 full frequencies. So if you only
Yeah.
get 1 frequency, you're only getting 1 chunk out of the station.
Yeah.
And also a initial scan calibration, which goes through wherever you currently are and picks out all the stations, and then when it goes back through again, skips them, so you don't get any stations whatsoever because it's
Brilliant.
filtered them out.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, because sometimes it's obviously a song, and
or an advert or something.
yeah, and it just, especially if it's like a certain news day, if it's football and it's coming on every single channel.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then you say the word, and you know full well that was from an advert you recognize.
Yeah.
You say the word McDonald's, and then when you come out of that, and then someone said, that was amazing, you said McDonald's and we were talking about that farm. I'm pretty sure that was just an advert, but it seemed to fit the session. So
yeah,
I like trying to remove variables from
Slightly
things.
agree.
There you go.
slightly agree.
I like trying to remove variables of things that might not be, or things that are natural, so you actually can then drill down when you're actually getting something real. So radio stations kind of have to go when you're doing those.
That's right, because it can be frustrating, and even when you it was the SB7, even when I changed the device and switched it off and then changed a lot of settings, it was still being useless. What did you get then?
Slightly disagree. I think they like the SB7, it seems.
Oh, okay. Yeah, short waveless radio stations. Yeah. But I have had some incredible experience of Vestas method. I've got some at Warwick Castle where I'd actually linked in to Crowley,
All right.
Aleister Crowley, and there's a story how he used to go there and practice and sort of do seances there, and we sort of mentioned a story before we went about something what happened on a previous investigation. And then I sort of linked in and I was getting the questions and the answers were relating to what I was saying. And, it's just really working out. And Yeah, that device definitely works.
I've been really enjoying using it, and if it doesn't work, I don't use it. If I don't understand how it's working and I've got faith in it, I just don't. I've got a wall full of racking, which is full of equipment which I bought and don't use because
Yeah,
it's I don't trust it.
that's
Well, I'll
it.
probably start making things myself because like I know how this works. I know what's going on. It hasn't got any secret microphones or cameras in it. It's trustworthy.
Yeah, that's it. Like, used to get the ones, certain guy, well known at the time. I don't know if he's still around, but used to go doing lives, and you could actually put words into it. Well, what's the point? Because the odds are that these words are going to come out.
Yeah.
He may be, but he intrigues me, Charles. How you doing in Texas? Hope you're all right. That Crowley so intrigues me. Yeah. That's why I like going. Oh yeah, I should be going to Scotland because I want to go to Boleskine House again. So I went last year, and there's a lovely graveyard at the bottom of it as well. I like it
Scotland's
in
lovely.
there. Yeah, but I might be going to Cornwall. I decided today. So it's choice between Scotland or Cornwall. So
Yeah,
I've got
polar
to start.
opposites.
Yeah, I know. I'm weird like that. So I've got to decide soon which way I'm going,
Yeah.
so I could start booking. But
Where would you
yeah,
go in Cornwall then?
I don't know. I've got to Google that because I just don't know.
You
Yeah,
ever been to St Nectan's Glen there at all?
no.
It's sort of north coast down the road from Tintagel Castle,
Ah,
and there used to be a hermitage, and
I've been to
there's ghost
Tintagel.
stories. Yeah, so it's just kind of further south down the coast from
Oh
there,
wow, okay.
and there's a story of a monk ghost there. But if you go there now, it's this nice waterfall, a little trek to get there. But then when people go there, they leave little things, the little piles of
Oh
stone, little
wow.
notes, things. So when you go there,
Slightly agree.
it's full of stuff that other people have left, but it's usually completely isolated. There's no one else there apart from whoever you've gone with. But you've just got
Wow.
this feeling that everyone's around you just because there's so much stuff that people have kind of left around the
Oh,
place.
yeah.
It's one of those magical places. But Cornwall's kind of like that. It's full of little
Oh,
magical
it is
places.
different, isn't it? Yeah. There's certain places what just have a different air about them. Like you
Mm.
go to Whitby and there's just something, isn't there? Just a feeling about Whitby, and there's a feeling about Brixham. Something about Brixham, something about York as well. Nobody ever mentions Brixham though, but I
I've
don't know.
I've
It
not
fascinates me.
heard of Brixham actually.
Brixham, really? It's
Yeah, where is
beautiful.
that?
It's Devon.
All right.
It's Paynton.
Don't think
Yeah.
I've been there.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's stunning. It's like Whitby. I always, as a
It's
kid,
closer as well. That's kind of handy for me.
well,
Anyway.
yeah. But no, it's very, yeah. St Nectan's Glen's very spiritual. It's amazing. My mum had an
Some,
experience there. Oh wow. Oh,
yeah,
there's a cave near Torquay. You need low
it stays
tide.
with you.
Slightly agree.
Slightly agree.
Slightly agree. There you go, Terry. Oh wow. Yeah, the smugglers' caves as well. They are intriguing. I knew of one in Wales, on the Gower Peninsula. There's an interesting one there as well. And you just imagine like all the smuggling and everything, and everything went off there really.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just and me and Tony Ferguson, we happened to we're both in Scotland. I was camping at Killeen Castle. He was at Killeen. And then he posted some pictures from Killeen. I said, "Oh, where are you? I'm here as well." We met up and we went to this cave in Girvan or near Girvan, and that was fascinating. What we picked up from there, got actual voices, words coming through, and oh yeah. So we took turns. Like there's a cave and then there's a inner bit as well. So one at a time, we sort of stood there while there were only three of us. Two went outside, one stood there. So I was on my own in this inner bit of the cave. I says, "Oh, can someone throw something?" And they did.
Hmm.
Oh, actually, it's something get thrown there.
I just heard that,
Yeah.
and again,
Okay. Yeah. So I was in that cave and I said those words, and something happened, and he got it on camera. And yeah, it's fascinating, and yeah,
I love a good cave.
I know. It's like, yeah, don't know what's
Yeah,
down
it
there.
was happened
The
3
the
times. All it
dog is
was.
that side, is not that side. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll take the tent though, Terry. Yeah, I'll take a tent, and I won't have to tour as much as Scotland. If I do go, I'll have to check out what's down in Torquay. Like, can you hear something else?
Yeah, it was again.
That's my dog snoring.
It's like a little kind of little sort of tap
Slightly agreed.
sort of noise.
I've had a click on the door now. I don't know. That's so good. Yeah, I'm used to it. Yeah, so whether I go to sort of Cornwall, Devon, or whether I go to Scotland this time, I don't know. Oh gosh, yeah. Quite frankly, I'm used to weird stuff happening. Like, I could go in a kitchen, and then something can move near me, and I think, well, did I catch it a minute ago, and then it moved or something? Like, I can sort of walk through the dining room, put a bag down, and 2 hours later it can fall over. So I kind of blame gravity and like things
There's
settling.
some reason gravity's changed and it's pulled it a different
Yeah, but
way.
it doesn't kind of take 2 hours for it to fall out the bag, does it? In all
Yeah.
fairness, but I've generally got a reason for things happening, so
Hmm.
it's all good. And that's stopped now.
Yeah, I've
Not
not heard
playing with
that
that
ticking for a
anymore.
while. Yeah, there's no temperature changes there.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, oh yeah, it's all right. I'm not bothered. You know, I think I bring things back all the time, and somebody who's like watched on YouTube before, he says, "Oh, you got poltergeists there." I said, "Yeah, okay, whatever. You know, it's fine. I'm not bothered. I'm used to whatever's around here."
Yeah.
I've
I'm sure
got
they held
two.
your car keys.
I don't know. I do lose them sometimes. To be fair,
Do you?
but it's like
Maybe
me.
it's not you losing them.
I've also got 2 dodgy dolls, a dodgy mirror, and some other items as well. So I have got, you know, I have got some interesting items. Like
What's
when you
where'd your mirror come from?
so my mirror was purchased as a haunted item. So my friend Phil Newton had it, and he used to take it on a few investigations. So I didn't really like the energy it gave off. I think it had witches with it. It felt like something real, really like dark. And then one day he was selling it, and I thought, yeah, I'll have it. So I went round to his house to collect it, and I just sat in the room. We were having a coffee and everything. He was sitting with his wife on the settee, and I was in a chair, a coffee table in front of him. And all of a sudden, he just went grey. It's like all the blood went out of him, and he just sat there and just went grey totally. And me and Di saw it, and it's like, what the hell? Another click. And then when he recovered as quick as he went weird,
There's 2
and
then.
then he brought the mirror over to me, and as he did that, the lights in his room went off and started flickering. So it's just a dressing table mirror. That's all it is. I think it's, yeah, nothing special. Well,
Apart from the witches, of course.
well, yeah. So yeah, I like it. You know. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah. I like churches. They're very interesting. Do you ever Oh God, no. I don't. I don't even cleanse me. So I'm not going to cleanse my equipment. No. No. Anything can happen. Oops.
Slightly disagree.
Slightly disagree.
No, I wouldn't cleanse
Alison loves a
anything.
good mirror. Whenever we're walking around a building and
Oh wow.
there's a mirror, she'll just stop.
Awesome. Yeah, I like mirrors. Yeah, I like scrying. My face can change quite. That's the kind of party trick I can do, because if you've got a red light and you're in the right zone, then my face can change. If you do scrying in a mirror, yeah, my face does sort of change quite quickly. So yeah, it's sort of party trick I can do. Certain things that you can do, isn't there?
That's what I can do.
There you go. Oh, that's cool. But yeah.
Thinking about that. How does that happen when you think about that? Your perception of the reflection from your face that changes. Well, what you got to think about, where does that come from? Because that's not
Yeah.
uncommon, is it?
No, it's not. And you see, if it's you seeing it, it's because you're staring and your eyes go dodgy, and then maybe it's the way you're seeing it because your eyes are all like off focus and dodgy. But then if it's somebody behind you seeing exactly what you're seeing, also there's a doll at Haunted Antiques. You've met her, Hannah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one.
She's the most famous doll there.
Oh God. Yeah, her. I saw her the other day again.
What, while you were scrying?
Oh no, I want to click on the window again. No, I actually saw her because I went to Haunted Antiques.
I see, right. I thought your face changed into to like Hannah.
No, and once I was doing an investigation and she was the centre of it, and it's like she got something over her face and it looked like her lips were physically moving. And if I could have slightly agree, if I could have seen her lips, if I could have lip read, I would have known what she was saying.
Wow.
Because it was so clear what she was really doing, different movements with her lips. And my friend got footage of her kicking as well, moving her feet. But then she sort of stamped on her phone and accidentally, obviously. So that screwed that up. Yeah, I've had that as well.
Mostly disagree.
No, I'm honest.
Very argumentative.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to go to Old Mexico. But yeah, must be brilliant. Yeah, Texas sounds an interesting place, doesn't it? Transfiguration is another strange thing I do. Yeah, you do loads of strange things, don't you, Terry? I haven't seen Terry for a while, actually. Yeah. So I've investigated. Hiya, hope you well. So I've investigated a few times with Terry. And yeah.
He's been off doing strange things.
Oh, Terry, yeah, all the time. Yeah. I've got a funny photo of him at the Parameet. So it was in the morning, I was just going to breakfast and he'd like perched his head on the windowsill like this. I was just sort of going to breakfast because the first 2 Parameets was actually like in a room off a main hotel. So it's like, they chucked me in the stable block or whatever.
Stables.
Yeah, the rugby one, I was in this like stable block, and then the second one I was in the house off as well. But the last one I actually got into the place. I tell you what, we do as well. It's absolutely fascinating. So I know you've just joined us, but basically, Andy makes equipment, and it's based on sort of science, and I have some here, and it has been intermittently. Ooh, must have caught my hair there, I guess. I think intermittently, it keeps going off, and with no valid reason for it, because one relates to temperature and one relates to air pressure. Andy's actually got some equipment running as well, and as soon as he turned one piece on, it said my name. Came out with a name Jacqueline randomly, which it's not a normal name to come out of any equipment, is it?
It's no.
So that is weird. So I might actually get that clip and put it onto
that was good.
Yeah, that's impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's my 2 favorite things have happened so far.
Yeah, we'll sort that out.
Else.
Have you got a link? And what's your webpage? Skytech, is it?
Yeah, sciretech.co.uk.
SCIRETECH.
Yeah, that's it.
SCIRE
Yeah.
tech at one word. Oops, just zoomed into the laptop. Hold on.
Flash the t-shirt.
.co.uk. .co.uk.
Yeah, that's it.
Scire.
There's
Oh, tech.co.uk. There we
there's
go.
yeah,
And
there's
I put it
a video
out.
for every single bit of equipment there where I kind of demonstrate, explain how it works. I'm very open with how things work, so when things go out, there's an instruction sheet that says specifically what triggers it. So it's a very kind of very open approach. There's no kind of smoke and mirrors because I'm trying to share information. So I kind of have to also share the information.
And Andy even deals with me getting mardy because my kit kept going off. I go, why is it going off all the time?
Oh no,
He's
I love when
explained
people
it.
ask. I
Yeah,
absolutely love it. I love it. I love being challenged with it because I think, yep, I'm happy with that. That's working as it
yeah,
should. Or no,
yeah,
that's not. That doesn't sound quite right. I need to change something there.
yeah. So just to recap, I went to investigation. It hadn't been investigated before, as far as anyone's aware. I took this piece of kit, which not many people have that, you know, in fairness. Took it, used it, and straight away it was interacting. And I think it was my dad playing with it because my dad liked it. There you go. He used to like his cat balls, so. And not
He's gone off
tonight.
them now.
Oh no, he's not playing with them tonight, is he? But
No.
yeah, but it's been a very
You-
interesting conversation.
Do you get the same interaction with your tripwire cat balls with your father at all?
I usually get, oh gosh, yeah. So as with Portal of the Paranormal, as with him, and we were in a cell at Derby Jail. So I got my string out. There's 10 of them, and it was acting too much, and it's acting. And I said, "Is that you?" And as soon as I did that, it came on. I said, "Oh, it's you, Dad, isn't it?" And it sort of said, "Well, who's Dad?" I said, "Oh, it's my dad."
That
So
character at Derby Jail? No.
So no, yeah, exactly. He says, "You know, you come to Derby Jail a lot. Is it you?" You know, and it's like, no, it's actually my
No.
dad. Sorry. So I sort of asked my dad to sort of step away, and then it stopped working. And it's there, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
but I recognised his energy as well, and
Yeah.
sort of
I do get
start
what you're saying
laughing when
there.
he's around. And I know he's done that. I've had that tonight, so I think he has been around. And it's just funny, like how when I first set it up, it was like going off quite a lot, wasn't it? And it
Yeah,
sort of
lots
goes
of
through
reds.
stages of working, then the other one's working. So, is my house haunted?
I don't know. You've had a few things.
Yeah,
It's more haunted than mine. I can say that.
yeah,
Scientifically, you've had mine's been sitting here the entire time, not doing anything.
yeah,
And yours been going crazy. And I've not had
yeah,
any knocks and bangs. So yeah.
yeah. That's been a bit weird. Yeah. Will you throw something then? It's like what? Oop.
That was your dog, right?
No, let's set that off.
No, the growl.
No growl.
Oh yeah, there was a definite growl then.
It's not my headset, is it?
I don't know. It sounded like,
No.
anyone else hear that?
Oh, it might be.
Mm.
Oh, my dog isn't snoring loudly.
Well,
Sometimes it is. He's not even Rocky, where are you? Oh, it's not even down the settee, in the other room. Yeah, it's not even. I thought it's down. I asked for one of those to turn off, Jacqueline. Oh. Wow. Okay, we'll have to check on that.
yeah, if you go back to the recording.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm used to weird stuff happening. It's all good. What was that?
Beggar.
Beggar. Okay. So when I did ghost hunts once, I said that my house is probably built on a old Saxon graveyard, which is cool. quite happy with that.
Yeah. Do they move the bodies? Or is it going to be like the end of Poltergeist one day?
Be good, wouldn't it?
Circular.
Burglar?
Burglar. Ooh. We
Check,
don't like
check the doors.
Yeah, but it's been fascinating. Thanks for the conversation.
That's how I loved it. It was.
It
It was
really
fun.
has, and yeah, with I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the radiator is off as well, so
Oh,
you know, if
you'd
it
have to
did
be
go
massacred to
red
have a
at
radio
any
on.
time, you know, it's yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I think it ought to have a kit behind me quite frequently, didn't I? See what happens.
Yeah, that sounds like a good experiment as well.
Yeah, that's right. Because I've had a cat ball go off before during a show, and that's because it was the anniversary of my dad's birthday.
Mm.
And yeah, but thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all your comments, and it's been brilliant. It really has. And I think I'm going to be spending a lot of money from tonight because I want some more toys. I want some more
I
of
think you
them as
need
well.
some just to back up the ones you got.
I certainly do, you know, because I wanted to get some out of the Parameet, didn't I?
Yeah,
And
she did.
I wanted
And
some
then they
purple ones.
disappeared real quick.
I wanted some purple ones, yeah. Good luck with equipment sales. And yeah, thanks for
handy.
watching anyway. So take care. I've got to go now. So bye for now. Thank you. Bye.